Morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason wrapping up a Friday here, August, getting ready to come to an end. And where does the time go? The pigskin flying through the air yesterday. Boy, what was Colorado thinking? Holy smokes. Coach Prime, come on, man. First of all, you don't schedule North Dakota State. I mean, I know they're 1AA, but they're like the best of the best in 1AA. They'll beat most good Division I programs, or at least give them quite a game, quite the scare. But the Buffs win this one. I wonder, is the shine of prime time wearing off a little bit up in Colorado? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't blame Dion, because I know he doesn't schedule this stuff. I don't know what the athletic director was thinking. Hey, I got an idea. Let's place North Dakota State in the first game of the season and see what happens. Yeah, well, that's almost bad things. But here's the good news. The good news is we've got inflation data out today, and it was right in line with expectations, leaving rate cuts on the table. We heard from a bunch of retailers, and, well, let's just say more of the same. Retailer after retailer after retailer saying, where have all the customers gone? Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And, Jason, the year of chaos has definitely been that. We've got everybody expecting a rate cut at the next Fed meeting in September, despite the fact that any other point in history, they probably would have been talking about having to raise rates. Problems with U.S. debt. Well, you know what? It wasn't the worst auction ever. It was just right next to it, right? So the second day in a row, yesterday it was the 7-year note. Another big tail, another dealers being forced to take down. So on this one, normally on this auction side, because it's not a huge auction, the 7-year auction, the dealers take less than 10%. Because, because this is something like you'll get insurance companies will buy this, money markets, they'll buy this, lock in. Hey, we'll take 4%, 4.5%, whatever it was, for 7 years and make a little bit of money. The dealers got stuck with almost 20%, almost 3 times what they would normally be taking down at yesterday's auction. So this continues to be the biggest question out there is, when is the shock going to come? Warnings, letters sent Bank of America, Bloomberg, right, saying to the Federal Reserve, hey, guys, you may want to look out. Right, because these dealers, they're going to get caught on the wrong side of this thing, and margin calls are going to be sent, and where's that money going to come from? And these are the shocks that you worry about. But then again, that's why you put gold away. You put gold away because, hey, if the shock comes, great. I've got an asset that's going to do real well when that occurs, and I think gold is showing that. 800-951-0592. allamericangold.com is the website. We had gold close at a record high yesterday. Some profit taking today right now with gold squarely above 2,500 right now. And, Jason, it's happening more and more. I think more and more people are starting to wake up, and it's important who you do business with. We talked about this. Was it earlier this week? Maybe it was last week. One of the, what I'll call the Fox guys, they just closed up shop and we're out of business. And people are missing millions of dollars. They've never gotten their products. We're going to talk about IRAs today. We do those. Matter of fact, Arlene, one of my girls here, that's her job. She does all of our IRAs. I'm going to actually break down yesterday We got a call from a person who had reached out to one of our clients and said, hey, by the way, I use blah, blah, blah company. And he was like, oh, no, please tell me you didn't. Call Joe at Patriot, see if you can undo this. I'm going to walk you through the warning signs. This will be a clear indicator that you're doing business with the wrong people. And we're going to break down what can happen when you deal with the wrong people. So that's going to be coming up today. We got some great specials, as we always do. We're going to update you on the inflation numbers. Also, consumer sentiment missed, and they're talking about home buying conditions hit an all-time record low. Wow. Remember the housing crisis? Could you get any lower than that? Apparently you can. That is how bad people are viewing the housing market right now. Boy, they're hoping these rate cuts will help it. And then, of course, Intel. What the heck's going on with Intel? They laid off 15,000 people. Their stock's getting hammered. Intel, a big employer here in Arizona, big chip facilities here. Boy, they've hired Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, looking at advice, including a merger and spinning off businesses. So I don't know. Has Intel got more jobs to cut? Sure looks like it. Patriot Radio News Hour will be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Kind of a quiet day today. Hopefully it stays that way. I mean, you never know. Right now, the Dow's up 30. The S&P's up 18. The Nasdaq's up 72. The 10-year note, 3.87. So, again, you're seeing these bad auctions driving up yields. This is going to be a problem as this debt continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Even lowering the rates is really not going to do much to help offset this burden. Oil's down $2. There's a rumor that OPEC's going to make up the Libyan supply. Gold's down 15. And remember, diversify. Right? As Bank of America always says, well, it doesn't always. They say it now, right? They didn't used to say it. Be your own central bank. Jason always says, hey, if you don't look after yourself and your money, somebody else will. And that's a situation you cannot afford to be in. Check out our friends at YRefi. Great fixed rates of return, up to 10.25%, not correlated to Wall Street. That's the big play there. Right? You still got to have, listen, am I telling you I sell all your stocks? No. But what I'm telling you is, man, right now, this is when you want to lighten up. This is when you want to get even more diversified while the bubble's near the top here. Got $50,000 or more. Call our friends over at YRefi. You can use it as income. I got people out there that they've done real well in their life. They've got $1 million, $2 million in IRAs, $500,000, whatever it may be. They can take a part of that. You can take, any part you want, how much of it you want. You can use it as income. You can compound it. You can do whatever you want with it. And like I said, the rates are fixed. What does that mean? It doesn't change. Well, what if this and what if no? What if nothing? It doesn't change. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-YRefi24. Having said that, I'm going to go over this again. Last week, we had one of these major gold adverts, right? They're on Fox, or they pay big spokespeople, to pitch for them. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Never, ever, ever buy any gold from any company, advertising on the TV, advertising on radio with spokespeople. If Sean Hannity, Steve Bannon, I don't care, you name it, Alex Jones, if they're pitching for somebody, you're paying for it. Now, I'm not going to name names. I'll just say this. You guys remember the John Birch Society? Well, there's a company that has a name very similar to that advertises with spokespeople. And we got a call from a lady the other day, and I'm going to tell you about IRAs very, very clearly here. If you want to roll over part of your IRA into a gold and silver IRA, a precious metals IRA, call us. Simple. At 800-951-0592. Having said that, never, ever, ever, if you're rolling over an IRA, do you send your IRA funds directly to the gold dealer? That is not how it works. If you do that, the gold dealer sets up the account and they're in charge. No. When you do a precious metals IRA with Patriot, you're in charge, not me. I can't call them up and tell them to sell your stuff, move your stuff. I can't tell them to do anything. You need to do that, and that's how you need to have it. So, first and foremost, if they're telling you to send your IRA money directly to them, you are dealing with a scammer. Period. When they have to tell you that the margins are up to 35%, what are you doing? Right? No, hang up the phone. 35%. I mean, if I sold something that, I had to go and spend days and weeks trying to find it and this and that, maybe I'll charge you 12. Maybe, right? I mean, come on. This is single digits here. But let me give you an example. So this person sent $118,000 to this company for her precious metals IRA. They put her into Proof American Gold Eagles and Proof American Silver Eagles. Unless you were insistent and said to Arlene, I only want Proof Gold, we will never put Proof Gold in your IRAs. Why? Because it's expensive. Cost a lot more. Just to give you an example. So there was an email exchange because this woman figured it took her a while, but she figured out she was getting scammed. And spot gold at the time was $2,457. A Proof Gold Eagle is $305 over spot. Okay, that's my cost. $305 over spot. So you can imagine spot at $2,457. You got to add $305, and then there's a markup. They sold her 24 ounces of gold, Proof Gold. I did the math. That cost this company $66,426.10. That was the gold company's cost. Then they sold her 58 Proof Silver Eagles. Now, Proof Silver Eagles does not care about spot. It doesn't at all. They cost $69. So they They sold her 58 of those for $4,002. This woman sent them $118,000. Got 24 ounces of gold, 58 ounces of silver. Yes, they were proof. It cost $70,428.10, which left this company with a profit of $47,571.90. This is what happens when you deal with the wrong people. If she had called us, she would have ended up with 40 ounces of gold, so not quite double, almost double the amount of gold, 240 ounces of silver, and we would have made $7,400 versus 47, about a $40,000 difference in these companies. And Jason, this happens over and over and over and over and over again. They're very good on the phone. They take advantage. A lot of people, they're waking up for the first time and realizing, okay, I wasn't awake during the dot-com bubble. I wasn't awake during the financial crisis. I'm going to be awake this time. This is who you call. Ask questions. Right? Ask questions. If they tell you they charge 35%, just hang up the phone. That's ridiculous. But this is what's out there, Jason. And Steve Bannon said, Sean Hannity said, Alex Jones said. Listen, they write a check, they'll say anything. I mean, it's just that simple. Here, Jason and I, we own the company, right? We are our own spokespeople. It's just that simple. It's unfortunate, but I bring it up. I don't even know if this is good or bad for business. That may scare people away. I hope it doesn't. I hope you realize when you're dealing, you find the right dealer, and that is us. It is just that simple. And I mean, this is just egregious. I mean, putting, what was it, the whole thing in there, $70,000 worth of product. When they sent them $118,000. And this is what they want. That's what they hope to get. They don't want any part of being a legitimate gold dealer. They just want to rip people off, Jason. It's just that simple.
Maybe they have a really expensive secretary.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
maybe they needed to redo the building that they're at. I don't know. Try to give them some excuses as to why they needed an extra $40,000 off of one customer. Because that's first thing when Joe was telling me about this morning is, well, that's one. How many of these did they do this month?
Right.
How many of these did they get done this month? And when we talk about the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer, these are the things as to why it happens. And really it just comes down to education, Joe. And most of the brand new first-time gold and silver buyers that know they need to be in the space and they come asking questions, one direction I always push them to is, okay, well, the number one thing, no matter, because it's always, what do I buy? And there's like 1,000 different things you can buy. I said, well, what's really most important is how you buy it and how you sell it, which means you need a great gold and silver dealer. That's your number one thing you need. It doesn't matter what, if you like gold eagles, or if you like gold, pre-33 gold, if you like gold bars, whatever it is, first thing on your list is get a good dealer, especially local is just better because it's face-to-face. I know that the world's gone to this internet thing where everything has to be on a video call or something, but there's still a lot of society that works better with a handshake deal, Joe, and that's why we do it the way we do it.
We do our best, right? For all the people where we get it. Listen, Jason's in Fort Lupton, right? I'm in Phoenix. People live farther away. We do it just like it's face-to-face. We tell you when you order from us, we give you a trade number right on the phone. right over the phone. What does that do? It locks you in. I don't care what gold or silver does after that point, you're locked. Whatever you agreed to, you're locked. You pay for it. You send us a check. You know, people ask, what's the most private way to do it anymore? Check's kind of the most private way anymore. I mean, there's some people, maybe you got a big cash business, but let's face it, going to the bank and withdrawing a lot of cash is no longer private, right? You know? But we do business the old-fashioned way, and Jason's right. You got to know not only the buying, but the selling as well. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason on this Friday. And Jason, it's just, you know, you're talking about, hey, not only, you know, do you need to find the right dealer, it's not just about buying, it's also about selling. And this is one of the things that a lot of people miss when they're talking about gold. They kind of get caught up in, okay, well, I just want the cheapest thing, right? And I get that. There's plenty of people out there that are like, hey, I just want whatever the item that's closest to spot, right? And that's almost always, not, there's a few exceptions once in a while, but almost always that would be like a bar, right? A 1 ounce gold bar. And let me just say this, not a really small bar. Those get expensive. Like the 1 gram bars, that may be the most expensive way to buy. But if you're buying like a 1 ounce gold bar, that's probably going to be your cheapest entry point 99% of the time. Here's the problem. When you go to sell at today's current spot environment, if you sell back more than 4 ounces in gold bars, it's an automatic $10.99. Right? You buy a 10-ounce bar. No matter where you go. And if they don't want a $10.99, you guess what they're going to do? They're going to rip you off. Right? And pay you way below and hope you don't tell on them. It's a bad thing to do. That's why you got to know both sides. That's why we like why do we like pre-33? It's only one reason, really. You can buy it, sell it, trade it in any amount, and I don't have to $10.99 you. You don't have to give me your driver's license, your social security number, your address. I don't have to call my accountant. Life's good. But we do it all. IRAs, what have you. We got, you know, I would say, 5-10% of our customers are what I'd call preppers, right? They like utility silver, junk silver, silver dimes, silver quarter, silver half dollars, 10th ounce gold eagles, right? Stuff that they can barter with. And we got another 5% of our customers, hey, I don't care about any of that. I want the cheapest you got. That's what I want. I want the cheapest thing you got, and I only want that, and I don't care. And then we've got everybody else. Another 85% of our customers who like, hey, I like to pay less. Right? But I want to be private. And oh, by the way, the prepper guys, yeah, they're not as crazy as they were 20 years ago. I'm gonna get some of that as well. And that's what we do here. Really good, diversified portfolios. Something where, hey, you're going to pay the best prices buying and selling, right? And then you're going to, whatever happens, because, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. Do I think an EMP is going to happen eventually? Probably. Hope it's out of my lifetime. Do I think that, you know, you're going to have to do business with the local motorcycle gang and then this and that? I hope not. I hope we don't turn into like Mad Max. But now with gold, I mean, gold's expensive now. And we're talking about, listen, $2,500 is dirt cheap. This is like $250. Go back to 2000, gold was $250. This is like $250 gold right now, I'm telling you. Can you imagine at 10,000, 20,000 gold? Right? Hey, fractional gold, Jason, not a bad idea because, I mean, you know, when I first started, someone sold us a $20 gold piece. We gave them $300, sometimes $275, depending on the day. $275. Now you're getting, you're getting double that, 10 times that number. Right now you're getting you're getting close to $2,500. Could you imagine now? I don't need $20,000, right, Jason? Having some fractional gold really is a good idea. Today, we have the $5 Liberties on sale, and we're going deep here. They're normally $725, $695 today. And I think Brittany told me we have, I think it was 70 of them. I'll get confirmation. I think it was 70, something like that. At that price, $5 Liberty. This is pre-Liberties, 1866 to 1907. Think about it. Every one of these coins is going to be closing in on 120 years or older. It's crazy. And they look great. They really do. It's a great coin to get. $695 on a quarter-ounce pre-1933. And it just really quickly. Jason, what's the one thing you cannot put into an IRA? There's only one piece of gold really you can't put in. You know?
Yeah, pre-33 gold.
The only thing you can't put into an IRA. You know, it's funny because they can't tax it. See? So they don't allow it into the IRAs. You follow me? You follow me? I can put all the gold bars I want in there, all the gold eagles, the Krugerrands, the Maple Leafs, the Pandas, the Buffalo. I can put it all in there. Except pre-1933 U.S. minted gold. $695 today on the $5 Liberty at 800-951-0592. And Jason, the inflation gauge came in right as expected today, up 0.2. Unrounded, it was actually 0.155. So it almost got close to only being up a tenth, but they rounded it up 0.2. It was up from last month. Now, last month, it was 0.078. So it actually doubled. The inflation actually doubled from month to month. But year over year, PCE, 2.5%. Core PCE came in at 2.6%. And, Jason, that's exactly what they expected. So I guess even though the inflation doubled month over month, the Fed is like, it's fine. Everything's wonderful. Don't worry.
Yeah. I think by the end of the year, their inflation numbers are going to drop significantly, and they're going to be so happy when they're lowering rates. But is inflation going to be lower at the end of this year, or is there going to be fire sales going into the Christmas season to get rid of as much inventory as you can because no one's buying? And then I think January we'll get the inflation number. It'll probably be 2%, Joe. Something happy for them. And then watch out for that February number for January. Watch the inflation start ticking up in 2025 when the real reality hits, Joe.
Patriot Radio News Hour when we get back. How is the consumer? How much are they spending? What's happening with savings? We're going to talk about that next. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Inside of this print today, this PCE, the Fed's favorite inflation. And by the way, you're like, what happened? Hey, 3%. Now this is 2.5, 2.6. That's better. Well, this is a different one. This is the PCE, and they call it deflator. And again, this is probably inflation for homeless people is the best way to explain it. But nonetheless, they also released consumer spending on top of consumer savings, on top of consumer pay. And we're in this this is kind of what happens at the end of the bubble here. The savings rate is now the lowest in the COVID era. The savings rate is the lowest in the COVID era. The personal income, it's up, but only 0.3. The spending, 0.5, right? So it's kind of saying, hey, I don't know what Jay Powell and the Fed is talking about from an inflation perspective. If your spending is up 0.5 every single month, that's 6%, not 2.5%. And now it's clear, and we've been saying this, the personal savings rate, it is really going back almost right at the lows of 2008. So we had a little blip in COVID. Remember when COVID first happened and it took a little bit to get people money? We're tied with that one, and that brings us all the way back to 2008, the last time the savings rate was this low. So, Jason, inside of this report, I think this may be something that Jay Powell's also looking at and saying, okay, inflation's not going to get carried away because nobody's got any money left anyway.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying the last segment as we were leaving. Is like, look, I mean, I think there are little inflation numbers. They got this thing planned out pretty well, Joe, I believe. If this is possibly what's happening, which is nobody can spend right now. And if you have retailers who we know, anybody that knows business, you try to empty the shelves before the end of the year because you pay taxes on everything that's sitting there. Warehouses kind of want to be a little less, full. The Walmart storage, they want to have clearance sale. They want to get rid of everything. The day after Christmas, the reason they fire sale everything is they want to get it out. Whatever's sitting around, just get it out because there is a inventory to take in at the very last day of the year, and you have to pay taxes on everything. And if you're competing Walmart with Target and other retailers, and nobody is buying stuff, the prices are going to drop. And then the Fed's going to take those dropping prices. Let's go with cars and other things. You're going to see prices drop here for a couple of months. And then starting January, can't wait to see the CPI February for the January numbers. And then the March for the February numbers. Because why do I get the feeling, Joe, oh my gosh, inflation's coming up. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We still want to cut again. We're going to be there, Joe, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. I think we are absolutely going to be cutting into inflation. It's economic idiocracy. But, hey, that's what they do, right? They left rates at zero for 15 years. I mean, idiocracy is definitely what it is. And, we've got one more segment left. I want to remind people the 16th Amendment, when the Federal Reserve came into existence, gold was $20. They started the income tax that year. Yeah. The income tax started with the creation of the Federal Reserve. The average annual income was roughly $600. So the husband goes to work. He was making about 30 ounces of gold a year in 1913. When the 16th Amendment came in. By the way, the income tax was 1%. And it was only for the rich that had to pay it. What was rich then? $3,000 annually. 150 ounces of gold. 30 ounces of gold right now would translate to about $75,000. Unfortunately, the average salary with two people working is about $60,000. Yeah, not quite keeping up real well. And look at the income tax rates. Yeah. How do you like the Federal Reserve now? Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment, 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number, the $5 Liberties. Just spectacular pricing today, $695 at 800-951-0592. So kind of just saying, how do you like the IRS now? Because that's where the income tax came from. These guys, they never miss a trick. 1%. The average household made $600 with just dad working. It's now at $60,000. Of course, 30 ounces of gold, $75,000, right? So not keeping up. If the IRS had indexed the original threshold income tax to gold, only people making $360,000 a year would be paying income tax. Of course, now the reality is anybody with income, right, it begins at 10%, right? It started at 1% and only for the wealthy. Right now, what's the wealthy at? 35, 40% now? I forget what it is, but something like that. 43 states also have their own income tax on top of it. Yeah, Jason, it is clear. Way, way too much government. By the way, Lululemon, the clothing retailer. Then it was also the cosmetics retailer. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. Hold on, I'll get to it. I want to get it out there. Ulta, Lululemon, Five Below, just a huge amount of retailers all missing earnings yesterday. Ulta and Lulu kind of, that's kind of like been, so the solid, middle class, upper middle class, and just saying people have left the building. They're running out of money. And now Bloomberg reporting that Intel may get out of the fabrication business. Rumors floating about that Intel is going to sell all of its fab plants and only design chips and not actually make them. So more big news here, Jason, coming out. I think these are just signs. Things have definitely slowing down, and weakness is starting to spread across the board. And bankruptcy filings, we'll get that here next week. We'll see the amount of bankruptcy filings. It has been skyrocketing all year, and I think we're going to see a pretty big number come next week.
We'll be here. We'll see, Joe. I agree. I think that could be a very big number. So stay tuned, right, Joe? Stay tuned. And with everything else we've talked about, maybe jump on a quarter ounce $5 Liberty while we have them at that price, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. 800-951-0592. And I also expect as early as next week, look out. Big Lots. Looks like they're heading for the bankruptcy. They've already shuttered or announced they're closing over 350 stores. Why do I get the feeling? I hope it's not a liquidation, but there's going to be a whole lot less people working at Big Lots here in the future. God bless everybody. Listen, it's football season, baby. High school football tonight.